And welcome back to our coverage of the Mackinac Policy Conference. I'm Christy McDonald. We're glad that you're joining us. One of the large topics of conversation here at the conference is the continued emergence of downtown and the revitalization down there and all of the good things that are happening. And joining me now to talk about that is Matt Cullen. He's the CEO, of course, of Rock Ventures. Matt, it's good to see you.
Great to be with you, Christy.
All right, so I love to be able to sit here year after year and get an assessment of where we are in downtown, and it has grown by leaps and bounds due to a lot of the investment from Rock Ventures.
Well, it's Rock Ventures, there's a lot of other people too, but we're really proud to be involved. I mean, it's been almost 6 years from the first time we came down, and now we're up to almost 15,000 team members, $2.5 billion worth of investment, 90-some buildings, and it's just, very rewarding for Dan, myself, for a lot of us are hometown guys, and so the opportunity to do good and do well, as we like to say, and be part of the revitalization of the city and yet a part of an entrepreneurial opportunity as well is really very rewarding.
How would you assess this last year in growth in Detroit?
I mean, I think it's been phenomenal. I mean, it really, what's changing now is the pace of growth, which is increasing all the time. And I mean, we have Cullen now, which is almost done, and you're seeing billions of dollars of development along that corridor. You're seeing a lot of efforts into the neighborhoods with the mayor's blight removal, with Rehab and Ready, a number of other projects. The riverfront is expanding, tremendous expansion of residential. Nike store, I mean, you know, who'd have thought we'd have a Nike store downtown, right? So, I mean, really, across all of the corridors of industrial, office, residential, retail, tremendous growth and really primed for even more coming up.
You know, I think it's really amazing when you take a look at the investment that is down there and from your company and all sorts of others, and we look at how you go about making those investments and what kind of strategic planning goes into saying, all right, well, this is the next building that we're going to go after and we're going to develop for a specific use. Give us an idea of some of those conversations that happen behind the scenes about how you plot out your next steps.
Sure, a lot of it has to do with density and concentration, right? So we really think that we can, if we focus on certain geographic areas, and obviously we started off kind of Campus Martius to Grand Circus, and we wanted to create an area there that was very strong and vibrant, and so we identified all the key buildings there, have purchased a lot of them. A lot of other people have come in, now Capitol Park, Paradise Valley, and then the whole Woodward corridor is exploding, and so I think along that corridor is tremendous. And now we're getting into residential, so we kind of want to make sure that we're working on behalf of everybody in the city, and so we're doing some Brush Park and affordable housing in Brush Park and micro-lofts, and so there's a lot of strategy, but there's some opportunistic kind of approach to it too. I mean, if building's available, we think it's something we can make good use out of, and we work hard to do that.
All right, I want to talk a little bit. I want to talk transportation. I
Sure.
do want to talk a little bit about the Q line and where we're headed there, and talking a little bit about regional transportation that everyone is talking about on the island right now, and the push for some kind of concerted effort in Southeast Michigan. How does the Q line fit into all of that?
Well, it's really a key component. When we started on the Q line, we wanted it to be a catalyst for economic development. I just mentioned there's billions of dollars taking place along that corridor. We wanted it to be a catalyst for regional transit. And then we just had a press conference on it, and we talked about how regional transit is an imperative for business success in our region. It's as simple as that. If we're not competitive, from a transit perspective, we won't be competitive from an economy standpoint. And what you see across the country is economic development follows those corridors of transit, and it's a social imperative. We have a huge percentage of our population that literally can't get to church, school, jobs, what have you. We have to fix it.
How do you sell people on that when they might not even use that transportation, but knowing that it's for the greater good?
Well, I mean, you sell it by you saying it's just part of a vibrant economy in a region. It's just, it really is as straightforward as that. And so they may or may not use it. Their kids almost certainly will use it. 73% of the kids interviewed by Cranes and Millennials said it was a #1 topic that they wanted to see addressed. Certainly that's the case with our Rock Ventures and Quicken Loans team members. But even if you're not going to use it and your kids aren't going to use it, I mean, somebody's going to use it to come to work at your place of business. Somebody's going to use it to get to a job to allow them to come buy something at your store. You might use it a lot more than you think if you have the opportunity to come down to a ball game or do something else with it. So it really is just it's a fundamental piece of infrastructure that we need to have, and ultimately is kind of the rising water floats all boats. I mean, I think people will see multiples of whatever investment that they make from a tax standpoint in the outcome.
I want to talk a little bit about retail, and we talked about a lot of businesses are locating downtown and filling a lot of the space that you have. How difficult still is it for retail to get a foothold in downtown Detroit?
Well, it's been really difficult, but it's changing. I mean, I think we're seeing more all the time, and it typically starts with restaurants, and you've seen the explosion of great restaurants. And then the retailers follow, and you see guys like Moose Jaw and Nike and John Varvatos and all of the great places in Midtown with Shinola and Carhartt and so on. You know, there's always been kind of the debate. You need residential in order to have retail. You need retail in order to get the residential folks down. And I think what a lot of people have done is said, let's do it all together. Let's just do a big bang, create the density, create the kind of scale that's necessary, and I think the results are pretty clear, and we are just getting started. I mean, we Rock and others have timed our retail along Woodward for the completion of the Q line, and so when that's done, I think that the existing retailers and the new ones are really going to take off.
You know, Detroit skyline hasn't changed in a very, very long time, but there's a project now in the works at the old Hudson site that could potentially change what Detroit skyline looks a little bit. Talk to me a little bit about that development and what that building is going to be and how that could be a game changer in downtown.
Well, I mean, it's really such a historic and iconic site in the history of the city of Detroit, right? And so we're really excited to have the opportunity to sort of recast that. And it's going to be a mixed-use project for sure. It's going to have a lot of retail. It's going to have a civic component where people can come together. And we'll have a residential component. And that residential component will likely certainly change the skyline of the city of Detroit. And I think it's been a tough project to pull together because the economics with it, but we're getting close. And we're really excited about the difference it's going to make in the heart of downtown. I mean, it's kind of like the missing tooth, you know, it just sits there right now, and it needs to be filled with the right kind of use, and we're going to put that in place.
It feels like that you've moved so much. There's been a lot of growth, and there's been a lot of development. One place that it feels like there's been a little bit of a wall, there's been some sticking point now, is talking about bringing Major League Soccer to downtown Detroit, and specifically looking at the Wayne County Jail site that is unfinished and sitting there. What have the negotiations been like in the last couple of weeks, talking with the county about what kind of money it would take to secure that site and to help them offload what they need to do in bringing another justice facility to a different part of the city?
Sure. Well, I mean, I kind of recast it away from a negotiation and instead to an information gathering kind of stage. The county executive has been terrific, and what he has said is, look, I'm open to it, but it has to work from a criminal justice complex standpoint as well. So we are embarking on a study to understand what it would cost to finish the jail where it's at and to rehab the court, which would be necessary for that to be successful. At the same time, with the same supplier, the same consultants, we're going to evaluate what it would cost to create a new jail and a new court in a different location. For the first time, then, we'll actually know what the difference is in cost.
You'll have the price tag.
We'll have the price tag, right? The delta in that's going to be what it takes to get this done. And while we're doing that, we're going to be fleshing out the MLS mixed-use project. We're going to be doing an economic impact statement as to what it would provide for our community to have this incredible sports district, connected sports and entertainment, the jobs, the tax revenues, all those kind of things. And then, the county exec thinks it's going to take about 4 months for his work to be done. We'll all be done at the same time. Everybody will have all the information, kind of cards up on the table. And I think, he'll make the right call. And I think the people of Wayne County and our community will have the opportunity to understand all the pros and cons. And we're very confident that it's going to come out that the proposed mixed-use MLS stadium is the right one.
Do you ever have any surprises when you walk into work?
When you work with Dan Gilbert, you have a surprise every day when you walk into work. But it's a lot of fun. There's so much good stuff going on. We haven't talked about, but we're working hard on the conversion of our gaming company to Jack Entertainment, and that's a lot of fun. The great stuff taking place in the heart of downtown along the riverfront. I mean, there's hardly a day without a surprise, and hardly a day without a positive step forward these days. And
you did work on the Riverfront Conservancy. So to be able to see a lot of these pieces come together in the last 10 years, how would you characterize the way the city has changed?
I mean, it's unbelievable. I started as a chair of it Conservancy 13 years ago, still hold that role, and I'm really just honored to do it. I mean, and the transformation has been unbelievable. And it's a physical transformation. We always knew it would be. We create a place for people to go. It creates a foundation for economic development. There's probably 500 condo units under construction now and thousands more to come. And maybe the most profound thing is it creates a place in our community where everybody comes together. Everybody from our region, every social demographic, racial characteristic, everybody comes together, baby carriages, walking dogs, hand in hand, and it's really cool. And it changes the way I think people feel about our community and ultimately the way they interact with each other.
All right, Matt Cullen, the CEO of Rock Ventures. Thanks so much for joining me.
Absolutely, Christy. Thank you.
And we'll be right back. Stay with us.